Hi everyone. I know it has been a while, but I didn't want to keep producing the same video over and over again because boring, no one clicks on it, that kind of thing. Wasting my time, wasting your time. List has stayed relatively the same sort of, so I didn't really want to do anything different. Um, Bit of the off season, bit of the downtime season, sort of waiting for Worlds. Not really much is happening. The new set got released, but it doesn't really do too much for this deck unless you want to change it drastically. But what I have been doing is I've been wanting to get the new ultis from the OTS. So I have been grinding the new packs and trying to get the different ultis. I want thrusts and that sort of thing. So trying to get those. Proved challenging, definitely. But got one, so I'm happy with that. But I played a lot of locals and had some real good success with this deck. So basically, I've played like 5 locals, and I've won 3 of them, or maybe 4 of them. Yeah, either way, it's had some really good success with the deck. There's a lot of freestyling plays. You sort of working it out as you're going along. It's really, really fun. There's lots of different stuff to do, loads of different lines to take. Really, really enjoy this kind of deck. Anyway, so what we're going to do is just going to get into it and talk about the structure of the deck, because obviously it's changed quite a bit. So the only thing that hasn't changed is the X deck. I've used every single one of these cards. I've won in time twice with Scarlet. I've Zeused a lot, Autumned when my hand's been bricked with Bystials. Like this extra deck, I feel like just fits this main deck perfectly. So I'm going to go through why I upped it from 54 to 60, because I feel like I justified the 54 card deck with so many just insane cards. So what we're going to do is going to go through the additional six cards. Yeah. So the free small world. This changes the deck quite a bit because this just gives me another go in second card when I draw it, because it gets me into Kurikara. It also gets me into a starter going first. It gets me into a starter going second. It gets me into a Bystial if I need to get into a Bystial. The card's cracked. So then we're going to go into the next bit, which is the next edition, which is the 1-for-1. It's just another starter card. It's really, really good in this deck. Facilitates a discard engine, which is what I really want. Special summons black metal, gets me started. It's an extender. It doesn't require a normal summon. It's just unbelievable. The card's cracked. And obviously 1-for-1 discard Enchantress is just unbelievable. So there's 4 of the cards I added. So 2 more to go. Ash. Just because it's a quite nice brick, to be honest. Bridge, sorry. It bridges between Enchantress. Then you can go Ash. Then you can go into Kurikara. You can go Vela into Ash, into Kurikara. There's lots of different things, lots of different bridges in this deck. And then Blaster. Best bridge in the deck. It bridges you through, because basically no other dragon in this deck has 28 attack, 1/8 defense, is a fire, or is a level 7. So it can bridge it into, you can go Bystial into Blaster, into Kurikara, Bystial into Blaster, into, you can't go into Ash because they both got 8 in defense and both fire, but you can just do everything. You can just go everywhere with this bridge. I'm just going to quickly rearrange this here, because just to prove a point, because I want Saranias just underneath the Magnamuts, because they're basically engine to me. Right, that's better. So let's just start going through the deck. So we've got the Brave. I'm going to keep I just want to show how many sort of good cards are in this deck by virtue of looking at it from sort of left to right. So we've got the Brave package, the 6 Brave package, the Foolish down here, so it's 7th starter. The Chaos Space, unbelievable starter. Safer, good starter. Even with the Brave, if you open Safer and Brave, there's so many different lines in this deck where you can banish that bit of Safer with a Bystial and bring it back with a Pisty. Then if you've gotten through a Lebellion line, which you likely has if you got a Bystial, then the Safer contribute the Lebellion to get into the Levy. You can Levy rip them, and then you can Safer add back your Levy from the grave, and then shuffle the Safer back into the deck if you want to draw the card for regains. Like that comes up so often. So Space, Safer, just cool, 6 good starters. Small World, Black Metal, again starters, Small World can get you into anything, going first, going second. The card is actually unbelievable. It's so good. The consistency that card adds is ridiculous. And obviously Black Metal, best normal summon in this variant with the Brave build. Combos insane with the Brave Engine and insane with the Lebellion as well. Then we got Quick Launch, E-Telly for the deck, gets you 2 bodies for the price of 1 because you got Tracer, gets you Boot if you want to crack back into boards. Boot can obviously special from hand and grave. Then Lebellion, just absolute cracked card, puts one of the best cards in the deck, Regained. Then we've got Ravine. To be honest, Ravine and Regained should probably be swapped around here. We'll just swap those around. Regained, 1 for 1, and Foolish. Obviously, 1 for 1 and Foolish being starters because Foolish can get you into the Brave Engine, but it can also just do random things like pitch the Abs route when you need it, send the Lebellion. Well, you would send the Saronir, then send the Lebellion, but you get the message. It's a really, really good card. Magnum, again, this is such a good going second card. Dropping it in your opponent's turn, searching a starter, interrupt, 2-5 on board. If you've got a Tracer or a Quick Launch, and that's a Baron, so you've got Negate, you've got a Pop. If you've used Quick Launch, you haven't used your normal summon. This deck is insane at cracking boards, by the way. Right is so good to break boards. Just puts on ridiculous amounts of pressure. And they always have a choice to basically deal with the Fateful or the Token, which puts you in a really good position because if they banish the Fateful, then obviously they've used the interruption to get rid of the Fateful, but you've got a level 4 body on the board. If they get rid of the Token, you can then Fateful search the Griffin Rider, and then Griffin Rider can be an extra extender to get you into Romulus or just a 2k body on board. So Magnumut's just cracked. Then White Dragon, practically a starter because there's so many darks in this deck that you're definitely going to have one in the grave, so it's always really, really good. Absolrouter, again, just combo piece, but you want to draw this card. Like, drawing this card is cracked because obviously we play the 7 card Brave Engine, which is obviously insane to discard it off that. 1 for 1 discard Abs, so it's 8, and then there's another 3 chaos space, so that's literally 11 cards. And then if you hard open arenas or the Fateful, that's 13 cards, where if you open the Abs router, you again just go insanely plus of something that was already making you go insanely plus. So Abs is class. It's so searchable though. I don't want to play more than one because I can only use it once per turn. If it wasn't once per turn, then I would consider, and the Rockets were better, then I would consider playing more. But because the Rockets once per turn and the Abs are once per turn, it's definitely one of. Got Levy. Card is cracked. Card is ridiculous. If you can, it's so easy. When you get really good at this deck, you can sort of work out your lines. As you see your hand, you're like, right, if I've got access to Rockets, if you've got Quick Launch access to Rockets, then Ravine can send Levy. If you've got Safer, but you've got access to a starter beyond Safer, so if you do it with a Magnum or etc. or a Lebellion, what have you, then quite often you can just use your Safer to go into the Levy. So you can search this Levy in so many ways. Magnumut can search the Levy, and sometimes as well, if they have to out the dark, you can crash your dark and get a Levy search off the dark. So if you let's say you can't out the whole board, and you've got to a dark and you've done whatever you can crash that dark, get the Levy, usually out the remainder of the board. If you're not dark locked, you can undone seal as well. Saronir, just incredible combo card. Like this just comes up so often. The extender then into dumping the Lebellion is crazy. So, you know, this deck here, so 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36 cards there that are just absolutely unbelievable cards to draw. Like, over half your deck is just ridiculous cards to draw. Then obviously, I'm going to start, so like this bit of the deck profile is done now. I start working over this side. So there's a little, some hand trap sections, so sort of 10 go second cards here. Obviously very, very good going second cards. The Nib and the Vela work very nicely. If the Chaos Space, everything Small World bridges into each other if you play these hand traps. I'm playing Vela at the moment because it's really, really good in Pearly. Hitting the Pearly Lily, cutting them off from the My Friend is just huge. It's really huge. If they can get to it from then, it makes them have to hit that off the Pearly, the the card that reveals 3. You know, it's really, really good, and it makes their lines really, really funneled once that point, and they might only end on an Awara, in which case you've got the Kurikari, you've got Small World, and this deck can outwin Awara by just making access code and attacking over it, so it forces it. And then we got Nib. Biggest problem with this deck is obviously Kashtira, but we play the Kurikari, we play Small World, we play Nib, we play Ash. Ash can end their turn so often. Veiler's really good if they just plonk a Unicorn on the board and you Veiler that, it's really, really good. Also, if they just summon a Fenrir and just try and go Fenrir Search, what's the chance of them opening them Fenrir Unicorn and Birth? You know, or like, I suppose the only thing they've got after that is Theosis, but you know, it's reasonable. The Veiler can put in a lot of work, can just instantly end the turn. And then obviously Ash, gone through Ash for the Small World Bridges. The Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This is a very, very good extender. Even if you open this without the black metal, or you open it with the black metal, I mean, with the black metal it's pretty bad, but if you open it without, this card, it's just 2 bodies. You just banish your Striker Dragon and you get 2 bodies. It turns a Striker Dragon, it's a 1-card card in your hand that turns a Striker Dragon into a Romulus. This can also randomly bring back a Magnum. If you go Saronir pitch Magnum for whatever reason, then obviously the Red Eyes can bring back the Magnum and trigger the Magnum. You know, it's ridiculous. And the black, you have to play it because obviously it searches away, it's insane. And it's good with Chaos Space, it's good with a lot of stuff, but this is definitely less active than the other ones. But you do have, because especially considering old Dragon Link, you would try and play as many light hand traps as you can to make this active. But now we play the Lebellion, so that's quite searchable through Saronir, through Ravine. So it's a lot better of an extender than what it used to be, but it's not as good as the White Dragon, but it's not as good as any of these cards. But it can be made just as good as these cards, and this with Regained as well. If you open the White or the Black Dragon with Regained, the pluses are huge, and you can set it up for next turn as well. Like the turn 3 with Dragons is ridiculous. So these in my opinion are still really, really good cards, good high quality cards. Then we've got the Tracer. Tracer is quite good. I don't really like to open it, but it's a necessity for this deck. It's so easy searchable. It's a free savage at the end of the board. It's great with Borderlands, got good synergy. I've never really been a fan of Tracer. Old Dragon Link, I only played 1 Tracer, but now you definitely need 2 with Bystials flying about and the amount of quick launch we're playing and stuff. Because obviously we don't play the Rocket Synchron anymore. But we do play the Caliber. Caliber's pretty good. Oftentimes you do need to summon a tuner off Tracer, so the Caliber actually is required in this build. Other than that, not really much to say about it. Blaster, best Small World bridge you could possibly think of. It's an extender. You can banish Ash from your grave because it's fire. You can banish Kurikara from your grave because it's fire, as well as the dragons. This can set up a nice Regain, because a lot of the times, well, not a lot of the times, but sometimes you can't trigger your Regain, so having the Blaster is really good. It can just it put 2-8 damage on the board, it's won with the game. If the Ravine stuck around, you send a Blaster. It's really, really good. Ravine, again, there's a lot of good cards to this card in this deck. So opening Ravine, it's not the end. You obviously don't want to, because it's just a neg, because you could search it through ROM anyway. But it's definitely not a bad card to open by any means. Talents, really good if they use something, or you don't get like one ball comboed and you can't play. Then we got Griffin Rider. On its own, it's not great, but it's a bit like Ravine in the fact that it's not bad. It's not bad at all. You can go into Romulus with it. It's an extender. You know, it does the job. I've even specialed in like sort of like mid to late games. I've used Boot Effect to bring back some rockets from the grave. That's been hit. I've then been able to just special the Griffin, normal Availer that I do for turn, obviously, and you can make a Savage. There's lots of good lines. Druid Worm, definitely the worst Bystial, but can be used for a time. It's much more useful going second than it is going first. Just being able to put the Druid Worm on board by taking out a resource from their grave, and then if you've got the Lebellion in your grave, then that just threatens instantly. That threatens so much pressure, because it threatens the Druid Worm pop, but not only that, the Lebellion effect into the Regained, which obviously then you're almost guaranteed a draw from it at that point. So it's just ridiculous. Really, really good. Then what I would classify as the 4 bricks of the deck. obviously 4 bricks is a lot of bricks to play in a deck. It definitely is. I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat that at all. I'm going to sort of go from sort of best brick, if you like, to worst brick. So best brick is definitely the Faithful, because it can get you the Griffin Rider, it can get you a level 4 token, and it can get you a free discard in Dracoback for the Ravine. So Faithful, if your hand doesn't rely on a normal summon effect, can be a level 4 extender and a free discard. So it's not the worst, but it's definitely not good. Like, nowhere near as good as Griffin Rider on it. Well, no, it's actually better than Griffin Rider on its own. But you do have to discard a card. But then discarding a card can help you sometimes. So it's sort of on par with Griffin Rider. Recharger, this card is stuck to my hand. It's really bad to draw. You don't want to draw it. It's a free summon off Boot, but it's just a lost card out your hand. It can make some boards better, but not great. Then obviously Boot, infinitely searchable by your Striker Dragon. You're always summoning Striker Dragon. You never want to draw this because you're going to search it anyway. If you draw this, you've literally gone -1. And then same with Dracoback. So let's say 3 super hard bricks. Then sort of probably 2 lesser bricks in the Dracoback and the Faithful. The Druid's Worm and that can be used to make a ton, so it's not too bad. So we've done main, we've done extra, just a quick delve into the side. So unfortunately for everyone that's concerned, Kashtira is still very much problems. There's a healthy, 9 cards for Kashtira going second there. We've got 5 going first as well, because the Thrust is helping us out with the Eradicator and the D-Barrier. Can also put the Pank in against Cash, pretty good. Then we've got Ash for a lot of combo decks and stuff as well. We've got the Thrust into the Abyss for the Pearly matchup. We've got the Duster and the Thrust to try and get that. That's our sort of 3 back row removal cards against lots of variety decks. And I chose Eradicator ×2 because that's really good against Pearly as well as D-Barrier is, and it's also good into the Synchron decks, especially the ones that play the Brave Engine. So if you want to sort of see Eradicator, it's more useful into a lot of different decks than D-Barrier is. I'd say Erad's got better coverage, but obviously they're both searchable by Thrust, so you're playing 4 Eradicator, 3 D-Barrier. The side deck was trying to be as flexible as possible, given that it is 60 cards. So the chance of you seeing a side deck card is significantly lower than other decks, that are 40, but definitely worth. Anyway, I think you should really try this deck out because it's so good. It's so much fun. So many different lines. You feel really good when you play this deck and you pull off a decent line. Anyway, give it a try. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.